Welcome to my channel StarWire Daily. Please share and subscribe and press the bell icon for new updates. Picture this. You're Gene Simmons, the demon himself, rock royalty, a living legend who's spent over 5 decades breathing fire, spitting blood, and living an absolutely outrageous life. And then one day, you reveal something so unexpected that the entire world stops and stares. Nobody saw this coming. What could possibly shock us about Gene Simmons at this point? The man who built an empire on excess, who claimed to have slept with thousands of women, who turned himself into a billion-dollar brand. What revelation could shake everything we thought we knew about the God of Thunder? Well, buckle up because what he just admitted changes everything. Gene Simmons was born Chaim in Haifa, Israel, in 1949. His mother, Flora, was a Holocaust survivor. They immigrated to New York when Gene was 8, settling in Queens where English was a survival tool. The little boy who arrived speaking only Hungarian and Hebrew transformed himself completely. He discovered rock and roll and learned the power of reinvention. By the time he met Paul Stanley in the early 70s, Gene wasn't just a musician. He was a brand waiting to happen. Together, they created Kiss, but Gene didn't just create a band. He created mythology. He created a machine designed to print money while shooting flames into the sky. Kiss became one of the best-selling bands of all time. Over 100 million records sold worldwide. A merchandising empire that turned the band into a lifestyle brand before lifestyle brands were even a thing. Gene understood something fundamental. Fans don't just want music. They want identity. But behind all of that, behind the demon makeup and the calculated brand moves, there was always Gene the man. And that man? He was fiercely private about what really mattered. Sure, he'd talk endlessly about money, about sex, about his conquests. But the deeper stuff, the vulnerability, that stayed locked away. Until now, Gene Simmons, the man who once proudly declared himself a workaholic and money-hungry businessman, just admitted something that contradicts everything we thought we knew. In a recent, deeply personal interview, Gene opened up about his biggest regret in life. Not missed business opportunities, not turned down deals. His biggest regret? The time he didn't spend with his children when they were young. Let that sink in. The demon. The man who seemed to care more about the next dollar than the next moment. That man just admitted that while he was busy conquering the world, he missed the moments that actually mattered. Gene talked about how, during Kiss's height, he was constantly on the road. Touring 9, 10 months out of the year. Building the brand. Expanding the empire. He was present for business meetings, album recordings, merchandising deals. But his kids' first steps? Their school plays? The quiet moments that make up childhood? He wasn't there. And now, looking back from the other side of fame and fortune, he can see exactly what he traded. All that time, all those moments, gone forever, sacrificed at the altar of ambition. His daughter, Sophie, is now a talented artist. His son, Nick, has carved out his own path in entertainment. Both grew up watching their father become a legend, but they also grew up watching him leave. Again and again. In the interview, Gene's voice, usually so confident, so brash, cracked just slightly when he talked about this. He admitted that his partner, Shannon Tweed, essentially raised their children while he was out building his empire. Shannon was the constant. Shannon held the family together while Dad was halfway around the world breathing fire in a demon costume. And Gene knows it. He acknowledges it. And more than that, he regrets it deeply. Now, some might think, is this just another publicity move? And look, I get it. This is a man who's made a career out of carefully crafting his image. But there's something different about this. Something raw. Something that feels less like performance and more like confession. Because regret isn't profitable. It's not glamorous. It doesn't sell merchandise. Regret is deeply, painfully human. And for someone whose entire brand has been built on being larger than life, admitting to something this human is significant. He talked about how he justified it back then. He was providing for his family, right? Building generational wealth. And all of that is true. Sophie and Nick have benefited from their father's success. But Gene recognizes now what so many realized too late. You can't buy back time. You can't purchase memories that were never made. No amount of money can replace your daughter's small hand in yours at her first day of school, or your son's face lighting up when you show up to his baseball game. Those moments happen once. If you're not there, they're gone forever. Shannon Tweed has always been gracious about this dynamic. She's spoken about making peace with Gene's workaholic nature. But she's also been honest about essentially single parenting while your partner lives the rockstar dream. This revelation is hitting hard for fans who grew up with Kiss, who are now facing their own mortality and life reflections. How many people built their careers, chased their dreams, reached their goals, and then looked back and realized they'd missed something irreplaceable? How many traded presence for productivity, connection for achievement, love for legacy? Gene isn't just speaking for himself. He's the voice for an entire generation who climbed the ladder only to realize it was leaning against the wrong wall. But Gene isn't just wallowing in regret. He's trying to make amends. He's trying to be present now, even though his kids are adults. He's trying to show up differently. Sophie has spoken publicly about her relationship with her father, and there's love there, but also complexity. She's had to reconcile the larger-than-life public figure with the sometimes absent father. The beautiful thing is that Gene is acknowledging all of this publicly. He's not making excuses. He's not deflecting. He's taking full responsibility for his choices and their consequences. In a world where celebrities usually spin everything, this raw honesty is rare. And maybe that's why it's resonating so deeply. We're all tired of the performance. We're all hungry for something real. Gene talked about how, if he could do it all over again, he would have found better balance. He would have said no to some tours. He would have protected family time more fiercely. He would have understood that being a dad isn't just about providing financially. It's about being physically and emotionally present. And the kicker? He admitted that all the money, all the fame, none of it feels as important now as a simple dinner with his family. None of it compares to connection. This is coming from a man who has literally everything. Multiple homes, private jets, hundreds of millions in net worth. A man who achieved the absolute pinnacle of success. And he's telling us that the things he missed matter more than the things he gained. Parents everywhere are pausing to evaluate their own choices. The workaholics, the entrepreneurs, the dreamers grinding 20 hours a day, they're hearing Gene's words and asking, am I making the same mistake? Because that's the gut punch. Gene succeeded. He achieved his goals. He built his empire. And he's telling us that even with all that success, he still failed at what mattered most. It's a powerful reminder that success without connection is just achievement. And achievement without love is hollow. Gene's not giving up everything. That wouldn't be authentic. He's still working, still building, still creating. But there's a shift happening. A recognition that maybe the measure of a life well lived isn't just what you build. It's who you build it with. For Sophie and Nick, this must be bittersweet. Their father is finally acknowledging what they've always felt. That validation probably means something. But you can't get those years back. The little boy who wanted his dad at his little league game is now an adult man. And that moment is gone forever. What makes this particularly powerful is the timing. Gene is 76 now. He's looking back at an extraordinary life. And what haunts him isn't the deals he didn't make. What haunts him are the moments he missed with his children. Life has a way of clarifying what matters. When you're young and ambitious, it's easy to justify the sacrifices. But later comes faster than you think. And understanding doesn't erase absence. The response has been overwhelming. Fans with complicated relationships with their own parents, who are now parents themselves, they're all feeling this. Some see their own parents in his story. Some see themselves. The question becomes, can we learn from Gene's regret without having to live it ourselves? Can we adjust course before we reach 76 with the same realization? Your children won't remember how much money you made or how successful you were. They'll remember whether you showed up. They'll remember your presence or your absence. Gene Simmons built a legend. He created Kiss. He became an icon. And now he's telling us that what he wishes he could change has nothing to do with any of that. It has to do with being a dad, with showing up. That's the bombshell. Not a scandal. Just this simple, devastating admission that even rock gods have regrets. And those regrets involve the people we love and the time we didn't give them. His revelation adds depth and humanity to a man who spent decades presenting himself as anything but human. It reminds us that even our heroes struggle with the same fundamental questions. Did I love enough? Was I present? Will the things I built outlast the relationships I neglected? Gene Simmons is giving us the chance to learn from his story instead of repeating it, to choose differently, to be present, to remember that the people we love matter more than the things we build. Don't let your legacy be what you built. Let it be who you loved and how you showed up for them. If this story made you think about your own priorities, about the people in your life, that's exactly what we're here for. Hit that like button if Gene's honesty touched you. Drop a comment. What have you learned about balancing ambition and family? Subscribe for more stories that go beyond the headlines and show you the humans behind them. The real stories. The ones that matter. We'll see you in the next one.